Hello everyone, I'm back for another edition of the Android tutorial. If you remember last time, we kind of went over buttons and things and events, and we also went over some layout stuff and a little bit of resources stuff. But today we're going to continue, and we need to write the code for this take video button. So I think what I want to do is I actually want to open up the gallery to we either want to be able to take a video or select a previous video to turn into a GIF or whatever you call that thing. So as I'm looking at this documentation right now, I see like it's pretty easy to actually do it. So let's go ahead and start it. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating an intent in order to open up the gallery. And let's go ahead and get a good definition of an intent. Oh, and by the way, this is the source code for everything that I'm working on. It's on code.google.com, and it'll always be in the description. But let's get a good definition. Blah, blah, blah. It's basically a description of an operation to be performed. And what happens is usually they're used to start activities. And you might remember that word, but an activity is what this is. It's basically what runs in a program or in an Android application pretty much. And you use intents to basically start either say if I had another activity that I wanted to show like the settings of the application, I would use an intent to start that activity. And I can also use an intent to, for say, start the gallery program that's built into almost all Android phones. So that's exactly what I want. So it's pretty easy to do too. You just do intent, new intent. Just create a new one. Make sure to import what you want. And what we have to do, let's go ahead and look at the properties of this. There's a couple things we're going to want to set. Most notably, we have to do set type, and what that does is it sets what's known as a MIME data type, and this is for when we want to grab like specific data. You can set it to like images or videos and stuff. In this case, we want videos since we know we're going to be returning some sort of video. So let's just do video slash star is the format you go. If you want images, it would be images or image slash star. But anyway, and then what we want to do is we need to also set its action. Every intent needs to have an action that it's going to perform. Most times if you're opening up a new activity, it would be action view, I believe. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I think that's what it is. But you can see there's a bunch of different actions that an intent can perform, like battery low, call, things like that. But we want action get content, and this is the one that's where we can select some sort of data and have it returned to us, which is exactly what this little description says to us. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, there are basically, I think, two different ways to start an activity. In this case, we're starting an activity which is the gallery. It's an activity that's not included in our program. It's like one that whoever wrote gallery basically made it open so that other people can call its activities, which is a little bit more complicated thing to do. But anyway, you can either just start an activity and just kind of forget about it, or not really forget about it, but not really want anything returned from it. In this case, say you wanted to start your help thing just to show like a help page for your application, you just call StartActivity and you would pass it the intent. Or say we want to select a video in this case, then we want to use StartActivity for result because we're expecting a result back, and that result is going to be the video that we're going to choose. And then we do intent.createChooser, and this is basically a kind of I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with Android. When say you click on a video, and when you're in the browser you click on a video, a YouTube video. It'll pop up a little chooser that says, oh, hey, you just clicked on a YouTube video. Do you want to open this in the YouTube application? That's exactly what we're doing here. We're creating a chooser which will let them choose what they want to open this, or what they want to find the video with. And the title would just be like select video. And then we also have to pass this activity a unique identifier in the form of an int. So just call it select video, comma, select video. Oops. I think I got everything sorted out. Excellent. Okay, so now we should start activity. Let's go ahead and run this, see what happens. Again, this will take a little while, so I'll come back to you when it's loaded. Alright, we are back. The emulator has loaded up. Let's just go ahead and throw it over there. And we have to wait for our application to start. Okay, there's exit take video. So we should be able to click that and something should happen. Alright, looks like the gallery actually opened, which is awesome. I'm guessing the create chooser didn't give us another option because there is no other option. Not entirely sure about that, but it's awesome that the gallery did actually open, which is exactly what we want. Now the problem is there actually is no media on this emulator. I'm going to see if I can figure that out, and I'll be back to you in a second. Alright, I'm back. After looking around a bit and like Googling some tutorials and stuff, I found the way to put media on the SD card. I'm just going to walk you through that right now. And also when I was doing that, I realized that we're actually writing the logic to select a video, so rather than taking a video, which is something I totally blanked on. So we're just going to change everything here, because we also want to select a video to turn into a GIF along with making a video. So, I mean, it doesn't matter that we did this one first, it's just that I was accidentally thinking of the wrong thing. But anyway, we have to go back to this main.xml. I just want to change everything here just to make it kind of look nice. Go to my strings and all that. Excellent. Okay, so now to walk you through what I did. The first thing is I went to Window, Android, SDK, and AVD Manager, and I created a new emulator. I called it Media Tester, and I'll just show you the details of that. Basically, what I did is I gave it SD card support, and I also gave it about a gig of SD card space. And you don't have to give it that much. I just kind of threw that number in there. But anyway, after you create that virtual device, you also want to make sure you have this DDMS perspective open. If you don't have it open, you can go to Window, Open Perspective, DDMS, and it'll just be in this tab along with your debug and any other perspectives you have here. But okay, now when you do that, you should, and you run your emulator, which is here, you should see this File Explorer tab. Now you want to click that, and you want to go to Mount SD card, and this is where all of your data in your SD card is going to be stored. Now, if we're going to be opening up a video, they're specifically stored in the DSIM camera directory, where I put a video I found on my computer. It's just something that comes with Windows 7. But the problem that I ran into is that what you can do is you can push a file onto the device and pull a file from the device. So if I select that, I could push any of these files in here. Now, the problem is you can't actually create a directory in here, and after messing around with a bunch of different options, some people suggested that you go to DevTools and open up a console and do it, but I was getting permission errors with that. So what I ended up doing was I found the directory where all my AVDs are stored, and it should be in in whatever main drive you have, your users folder, your name, and then .android, AVD, blah blah blah. So we got into Media Tester, and you see this SD card.image, which is about a gig, and that basically contains everything in this SD card. Now, right now it's locked because I believe I have this open. We're just going to close that. Okay, that went away. And what you want to do is you want to open this with whatever sort of image mounting software that you have, since it is an actual image. For this I have Power ISO. And from here, you are now in your SD card mount directory. So what I did was I basically created a DSIM camera, and then I put that video in there. Now, I don't know any other really good ways to create folders because I was getting permission errors with other things. This one worked the easiest once I was able to actually figure it out. So anyway, let's get rid of that. And let's go back to our Java perspective. Okay, so everything's select video now. So we should be able to run this. Again, this is going to take a little while, so I'll be right back. Alright, now that the emulator has kind of loaded up, I want to take this time to go over to DDMS and notice that you can see that your emulator is online, and you can open up the mount secure SD card folder. You can see the DSIM camera wildlife. It's exactly what we want. And this is a really, really useful kind of perspective, as it allows you to basically control the emulator and do things to it. And one thing I use it a lot for one of my projects is I need to send it GPS data, so I have this little location controls where you can fake GPS data and send it to it. And you can also do things like screen capture and view the heap and everything, and it's basically really, really useful. But anyway, let's go back to Java, and if I remember, we had run this, so let's go ahead and select video. Remember, it's going to start looking for videos there, so we should be able to see it. Oh, there it is. So there, this is our wildlife thing, and when we click it, since we're not really expecting anything back, nothing's actually going to happen. I'm not sure if this video can actually be run. It's a WMV file, so I might have to create a different one because I see this little warning sign, but oh well. So this is all we really want right now. So now we have to kind of get the data that we selected. And this is the standard way to do it. When you start an activity for a result, when you want that result back, you have to create a new method called onActivityResult. That makes kind of makes sense. And it gets a request code, result code, and the data. Now remember, when we pass it this action, or I mean this select video, we have to make sure to check that. But first we have to make sure that, okay, we actually got the thing, which result code equals result.ok, or result_ok. And then we have to also check the request code, since we might in the future make new activities. Say if we want to go to the camera and actually record it, we're probably going to have a different request code, but we're probably also going to be doing start activity for a result. So we have to make sure to define that. So if request code equals select video. Alright. And you can do this with switch statements, if statements, doesn't really matter. So now each this file in the SD card is, in order to get it, it's stored as basically a URI, which is basically a mapping to the internals of the Android emulator, I guess you could say. So we have to get that URI, and it's called video URI. And if you notice, the data has actually a get URI. Pretty sure it has. Nope, it might be get data. Okay, so get data. This URI specifies the name of the data. And let's import that. And for another thing, let's go ahead and do that. And let's put a debugger here, because I'm not entirely sure if this is going to work, so we should probably check it. So I don't know if you all are familiar with debugging, but if you put a breakpoint in your code and you select this debug video, or debug project, whatever, it'll actually stop at that breakpoint. And you can actually step through the code. So let's go ahead and press that. Our application is starting. Looks like it's running. It's waiting for the debugger. Right now we're in here. Now we should hit select video. Notice we haven't put any breakpoints down here. Ooh, we're getting a bunch of errors. Oh well. And then we select this. Okay, great. So it actually responded to our click, and let's minimize that, and let's hit F6 just to kind of step over this. And video URI, content, media, external video. Okay, so that is the URI we use to access this video. I'm guessing it's 1 because it's the only video on there, which kind of makes sense. And another thing, when you're debugging, you can also switch to this debug, which kind of shows you a lot more information related to debugging. You can see all the different variables. Notice this is the one we were just looking at. I've lost myself there. And another really important thing is you can see the different threads that are running. This gets really important when you get into multi-threading. You're going to want to see which threads are running when, and occasionally a thread might crash, and you have to see which thread crashes so that you can fix the errors, etc. And the variables, of course, are very important to see which ones are popping up. But in order to, so that you guys can see more code, I'm just going to show this Java thing, or Java's perspective. And let's see what VD string shows up, since apparently I misspelled that. Uh-oh, something's wrong. Alright, for some reason my keyboard is no longer responding to me. So let's go ahead and rerun this. Terminate. I was mashing F6 right there, and it wasn't actually going over. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but we can always just do it again. Select video. Select this one. F6. So, oh, of course I've gone over this now, but oh well. So let's just, I'm guessing video string was something like 1, or maybe the name of the video, but since I stepped over into this, it's can no longer access it because it's a local variable inside that if loop. But let's forget about that for a little while, and let's just, the important thing is that we have this video URI thing so that we can access the video in our internal storage. Now, we want to get the actual path, I guess you could say, to the video, since we know how Android represents it through this URI, but we want to actually get the path. So what we have to do is, let's just create like a get path method, video URI. Let's make sure to terminate that. Okay, good, it's not running anymore. And I guess string path equals, so we're going to make it return a string from the URI. Get path URI. Great. Okay. Now we have to get the path so that we can read the video into some sort of data object that we have here. So now this I'm just taking from a tutorial that I'm also looking at. I mean, it's helping me out here. I'm sure as long as this one will help you out here. I might put it in the description, give these people some credit. Actually, it's a Stack Overflow thing. It's not even a tutorial. But anyway. Now we want video, media, data. Okay. Now this says that we are looking for basically video, and then now we have to basically read, I guess, the information about this, kind of the metadata. You know how files have metadata saying their names and stuff. I'm looking at this right now, and I'm just going to copy it, and hopefully it's going to work. I'm not entirely sure how it works. I know it uses cursors, which basically is a way to read files. It's kind of like, I'm not really going to explain it right now, but it's kind of like, never mind. But let's just fill this out. So our cursor is going to, after I import that, it's going to read from the URI, and it's going to look for the data of the video. I was going to say it's kind of like SQL in the way, like cursors are really common in database languages. And you can kind of think of it like that, although that's not exactly what it is. So we want to get the column index. So video. So I'm not explaining a lot on this one, but honestly, I'm learning here too. I mean, this is the first time I've actually ever done something like this. So, I mean, that's the whole point of these videos, is I'm learning how to do things, you're learning how to do things, which is awesome. So to first return cursor.getString. Now I'm going to talk about this, hopefully try and understand it myself, but what's happening is we're getting the column index of the video data, I'm guessing, and we're moving to the first column where I guess is where we can get the path, I guess is the first thing that's being stored, and we're just returning it here. And let's just go ahead and after we get in this path in this method, let's go ahead and log this. Now this is another really important method. It's kind of like system.out.println in Java or console.writeLine. It kind of writes things to the console, but in this case it's going to write it to logcat, which is basically where everything happens. And log.i, if I can mouse over it, it takes a tag and a message. A tag is used to identify the source, a message is the actual message. So what I like to do for each thing, for each activity or file that I have that I know I'm going to be doing logging in, I like to create this tag, and let's just call it name activity, and then so I don't have to write main activity each time. I can just reference this, and then let's go ahead and do path. Make sure to import log, and our breakpoint set up, so no errors, no errors. Let's run this. Okay. Now hopefully this works. This will be quite surprising if it does. Select video. Click that video. Let's step into this because I want to see what the logic behind this is. 6 projection. Okay. Data, cursor, column index 0, cursor. And in the future I might look up what cursor, the exact definition of cursor is. But path, oh great, it actually worked. So it got the full path to our WMV file. And we're just going to log that, and I'll just show you what login does. See main activity, mount SD card to camera. And now if you notice, log has two different things. W is warn, that will show up in orange, and error will show up in red. It's basically, you only want to use errors if something serious has happened. Warn if like, okay, this happened, but we can kind of ignore it. Or information is just showing information. Check out my time. Ooh, definitely over. Okay, so that's the end of this portion of the video. I kind of showed you how to manage SD card information and showed you how to grab or start an intent to select a video and then return the path to it. In the next video, I'm sure we're going to be dealing with that video and hopefully somehow importing it as data into our project. Tune in next time. This is Quackware signing out.